today I want to share briefly on guilt, on the emotion of guilt. All right, and way forward, how can we start to release ourselves of this emotion of guilt? My name is Joy Seki. I'm your recovery therapist and emotional wellness coach. I work with individuals virtually to experience their healing journey and mental well-being. Connect with me from anywhere you are in the world and we can work together. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. As human beings, we feel guilty when we do something wrong to people, and then we feel like, okay, I have offended this person, or I have done this thing to this person, or I did this or did that, I broke the rules in my organization, and I feel guilty. That's actually normal, right? And that's okay. The challenge is when we are excessively always in that state of guilt, where every little thing, whether we are the one at fault or not, we always feel guilty. So what happens when we're in that state where we start to live in guilt? Let me use that word. And guilt becomes like a way of life for us. Millions of people experience this, and this is one of the things that often lead to suicidal ideation. All right, people try to atone for the guilt that they can't forgive themselves for. So, guilt is the feeling that we have done something wrong. Okay, it is just that feeling, that sense of I have done something wrong that you feel, that is just there, always there at the back of your mind. You just have the sense of doing something wrong. Okay, and guilt comes from different things. At times it's legitimately from having done something wrong to someone, or having broken a rule or a standard. Okay, let's say you're a religious person and you feel like you have sinned against God. Okay, you've broken the rules, you might feel guilty, which is okay. All right, the moment you feel that and you ask for forgiveness, at least you should be able to let go, right? When you don't let go and you continue to feel this guilt, despite all restitution, despite whatsoever you try to do, and this thing is still there, it's a problem. It means that you are now in that state where you feel like you always do something wrong. And that's now living with the emotion of guilt. And this is a problem because this is one of the causes of depression, anxiety, OCD, because you want to keep going back, making sure that you're doing the right thing. That thought, recurring thought is coming, and you want to confirm that, okay, you did the right thing, and all of that. So it can make life unbearable. It can make life so difficult. Okay, what do you do? This is where the problem is. What do you do when you are living in this state? Because one of the things that I notice is that when you feel guilt, or when you feel like you are always guilty, it means that you have accepted that you are condemnable. Because what happens when we feel guilty? We feel like we should be punished, right? We feel like we can be made to atone for our sins, right? Because we are guilty, right? So living in that state of guilt as an emotion means that you are perpetually giving yourself to being condemned. So it might lead to a form of people pleasing, trying to do everything to atone for your guilt, for your sin, because you feel like you always sin. I mean, when I say sin, I don't just mean it in the religious sense. I mean it in the general sense of feeling like you're doing something wrong in whatever way. Because now that's your state of being. It is no longer just a feeling, or just a feeling you felt because you legitimately offended hurt someone or broke the rule, it is not something that you are living with. That is not a part and parcel of you. That's where there's a problem. That's where there's a problem. And from trying to atone for this guilt, you might do all sort of things that might end up at a disadvantage on your part. Okay, so sometimes you're not wrong, you didn't do something wrong, and yet you are apologizing profusely because you just feel like you need to keep atoning. And then sometimes you allow people to treat you anyhow because you are guilty. So because you feel guilty, because you see yourself as guilty, you allow anybody to punish you. Because what happens when you're guilty? You get punished, right? So that becomes your mindset, your state, your core belief. You know, there's this thing of, oh, I'm always wrong. That's where it gets to that point. I don't know whether you're in your circle or your place of work or around, you notice some people always take the blame. They are okay taking the blame even when it's not their fault. It might be from a place of guilt. It might be that you're in that state where you actually feel like you should be atoning for something because you are suffering from that emotion of guilt. It's a difficult place to be in. It's a difficult place to be in. Little things, you're feeling very condemned. You condemn yourself and you judge yourself and you try to atone for the sins or whatever you think you have done, and so you come to that point where you accept that you deserve to be punished. And what this means is that even when bad things happen to you, you don't believe that you deserve it. So you get to that point where you expect evil. You see how this thing is building up. So when things bad happen to you, you not see bad things happening to you as a norm. You no longer expect good. This has now affected your core belief. You no longer expect good. After all, you should be punished. You are guilty. You see how all these things kind of affect our life? How they have a lot of negative impact on our life and affect our mental health and our state of being. And there's so many people that are living in this state. You don't deserve it. No matter what you have done or haven't done, you don't deserve to be in this state where you feel that you are deserving of punishment, of bad things, of being condemned. You don't deserve it. It's distorted. There's a distortion going on in the mind. It's not normal that you should expect to be punished every day in every way. And so you look forward to bad things. You now see bad things happening to you as the norm. You no longer expect good. What would happen when you are living in that state? Would you be happy? I doubt it. Okay, you might even start to hate on life after some time because you now feel like life brings you bad turns. You now feel like good things are not happening for you. You might even get to a point where you now hate on God, that God hates you. You know, and so when something bad happens, you just be like, I deserve it. You get to that point where you feel like you deserve it. So people treat you wrongly, you believe that you deserve it. Because you feel guilty. You're carrying that thing, that emotion. It's your state of being. It's your life. Just imagine that. So you give up yourself to be punished. You might even take abuses from people. You might even stay in toxic relationships. You feel like I deserve it. It's karma. That's why some people say, well, it's karma. You know, that's not fair to you. It's not fair. So regardless of what you have done, maybe somehow it came from a place where you did do something wrong. Maybe you had these perfectionist ideals towards life. And then when you broke those ideals, you couldn't get back yourself. You still keep feeling guilty no matter what. You remember that, oh, I did this. I don't deserve to be forgiven. I deserve to be punished. I just want you to know that we all make mistakes. We all offend people. I offend people. I continue to offend people. I can't help it. I just need to recognize when I'm offending anyone and apologize and make sure that I don't offend the same person again. Sometimes we have good motives, good intentions for everyone, but it just doesn't turn out right. We desire it right, but it doesn't turn out right. And we need to know that about life, for our mental health sake, for our psychological well-being sake. Okay, so that we don't continue to be in a place where we allow all sort of misfortunes to happen to us and we think that that's how life is for us. And then over time, when we see other people are not experiencing life that way, we start to hate on them and feel envious and jealous, whereas it's not their fault that we are going through this. It's our beliefs that we hold about ourselves that is creating this kind of environment. And we want to be aware. That's why I'm doing this. Okay? So whatever ideals you had broken, whatever rules you broke in your church or in your mosque or in other religious belief, and you think that God will never forgive you, and you have sentenced yourself to life imprisonment by allowing everything and all sort of evil to happen to you, because for you that's your way of being punished for what you have done. I want you to know that you have been punished enough. You have gone through enough. I'm sure that the punishment you have gone through is even more than the initial rules you broke or whatever sin you committed, and you need to let go. Okay? It's not God that is punishing you, because you get to that point where you feel like, oh, the universe or God is punishing me. I've had a conversation with someone like this where she legitimately said that she feels she's being punished by the universe. And that's not true. Okay? That's not true. It's because of that feeling of guilt, that place where you are in, where you have not forgiven yourself. If you have ever asked God for forgiveness, I am so sure that He has already forgiven you. You have refused to forgive yourself. Okay? And you need to recognize the fact that you have been punished enough. That's where you need to first come. You need to pause at all of this that is happening and tell yourself that enough. I have been punished enough. Because if you don't get to that point where you accept that you have been punished enough, you're going to think that you need more punishments. And you're going to continue to expect more bad to happen to you, because you are the place where you feel that you have done something wrong. And you're going to continue to tolerate and allow people to abuse you, to do anyhow to you, to treat you anyhow. You're going to continue to put yourself in those dysfunctional states, dysfunctional relationships, because you feel that you deserve being punished and you're being punished. So I'm here to let you know that it stops here, now. So wherever you are now, you're listening to me, say enough. I have been punished enough. Okay? I made a mistake. God has forgiven me. If my mother has forgiven me, my friend has forgiven me. Maybe you cheated on your spouse and it's not you. It's not your kind of person. It just happened. And you have refused to let go. You have refused to forgive yourself, even long after your spouse has forgiven you. And anything that happens to you, feel like I deserve to be punished. This is not a good way to live life, because over time you start to feel depressed, sad, because you keep allowing anything evil to happen to you. You can't take it. You're human. There's a limit you can take pain and suffering. Because you have opened space for too much suffering around you, and it will continue to come because you're giving it permission to fill in. So this is the point where you say enough. And this is just the point, this moment, enough. The first thing, forgive yourself. Accept that you have been forgiven, and then now it's your responsibility to forgive yourself. So you want to forgive yourself. Let's do this together. I release myself of every guilt. Now, whatever it is you did that you think that keeps reoccurring, whatever thought keeps reoccurring about whatever event or whatever you did, if it's still there, I want you to name it. You can say, I know that I did this. And over time, I have found it difficult to forgive myself for doing this. Today, I let go. I forgive myself. It's okay to acknowledge that you did do that. Okay? Let's say, for instance, you had cheated on your spouse. They have forgiven you, but every time you see them, every time you see yourself, you still feel bad. And even though they've moved on, you have refused to move on. Now it's time to say, I cheated on my husband, I cheated on my wife, I have apologized to my spouse, I no longer do that. I release myself of this guilt. I forgive myself today. Today I forgive myself. I know that I created this standard for myself and I fail. I'm sorry, Joy. Whatever your name is, tell yourself. God, forgive me. I've asked God for forgiveness. He has forgiven me. The universe has cleared out my sins. Everything has been cleared. I let go. I have forgiven myself. Today I am free. I forgive myself. I release every form of guilt that I feel about this situation. I'm saying this now. Say this with me. I release every form of guilt that I feel about this situation. I release it. I forgive myself. I let go. I am deserving of forgiveness from other people, and I'm also deserving of forgiveness from myself. And today, I forgive myself. I have been forgiven. I let go of the guilt. I make mistakes. And I let go. So, you want to write out everything that keeps reoccurring to you, that are the mistakes you have made in the past, that makes you feel guilty. It will be there, those thoughts. You want to be able to observe your thoughts, to know the things that you feel guilty about. I want you to take a journal and a pen and start to write them. This is between you and you now. If there are people you need to call, it's okay to call them. There are people you need to let them know that you still feel guilty over doing this, and you feel they will understand. You want to talk about it with them. You decide. You are in the best place to make the decision that is best for you. The most important thing is that you want to come, out from within you, those feelings. You want to write them out. You want to see them and see that I let go of this. So write them all out, as many as you can. Okay, release, name them one by one, release yourself from them, and when you're done, tear out those shits. It's gone. Tear it, burn it, throw it in the sea. It's gone. Move on. Okay, move on. Take the lessons. Take the lessons, because when you give yourself up to guilt, you're saying that you are condemnable, and that's not a good place to be. When you feel condemned, what happens? You feel useless, right? So it affects your sense of worth. Guilt actually affects our sense of worth, because it allows us to allow anyone to trample on us. We feel worthless, and that's not a good place to be. When you feel worthless, it affects your esteem, your confidence. So it has impact on every other thing around you. That's not a good place to be. All right, you deserve happiness, you deserve forgiveness, you deserve love. Give it to yourself. Okay, ask whoever needs to forgive you, ask them for forgiveness. Okay, and regardless of whether they want to forgive you or not, forgive yourself. Take the lessons and move forward. If you need professional help, you can contact me. You can contact any therapist or well-being coach around you, and work together to help you totally eradicate this feeling. Okay, remember what I said. It's normal to feel the usual guilt when we do something wrong, or we feel like we broke a rule. That's normal. It becomes excessive when it's affecting our daily life. Okay, that means it's not affecting our workability. It gets to the point where we can't be without feeling condemned. We allow anything because we feel like we should be punished. Regardless of how much punishment we have received, is never enough. We keep feeling like we deserve to be punished. That means you are not in that state where you feel you have done something wrong. You are a mistake. That's not a good place to be. Okay, so it's time to let go. It's time to let go. You deserve happiness. You deserve forgiveness. We all do. We all falter. I hope that you allow yourself, I hope you give yourself the permission today to let go, because you have the power to do that, and you have to give yourself that permission. All right.